I'm Reverend Annie Kopko, and I'm delighted to be here to speak today. Let me see. Let me get the range. No, it's not going. I feel very far away. I've been thinking about talking about nature's spirituality for years, actually, and just now actually got around to it. It's such a broad topic, so I'm going to narrow it down. You'll see how I'm going to narrow it down. When I was growing up, I got tossed out of the house when I was 2 and 3, 4 years old. And of course, this was before I became a Catholic, you know. Or it was before I went to church. So nature to me was spirit, was God, was the loving presence that I relied upon, that I came to rely upon. I remember lying on a blanket, looking up at the stars, and having an incredible feeling about how small, how tiny I was. And at the same time, having a feeling how large I was. How can I be so small and so big, and all of this at the very same time. So I was experiencing the part of nature that is God. I was experiencing wholeness. I was experiencing my mother, the earth. And this was happening this was happening to me because I got tossed out of the house. My mother had 3 little girls under the age of 5, and that was just too much for her to handle. And I can understand. I had one, and that was enough. That was enough. Later on, of course, I went out in nature because my family life consisted of fighting most of the time. Each of us trying to be heard. There were 7 of us in all. And so for my relief of my fear and my anger, I went out of the house. So my experience of the abundant nature of the universe came from observing nature bursting forth with seeds and flowers and worms and tadpoles and all the food our family could possibly eat. We had to, we raised animals for food, eggs. We raised vegetables to eat and to freeze and to preserve, to can. And I was forced to work in the garden. And this was a great burden for a little girl to handle, but I'm really glad that I had that experience, because now I know how to make butter. I know how to can tomatoes. I suppose I could dress a chicken if I had to. I could. I know I could. So if we lose our connection with nature, we lose part of ourselves. And as I grew up in nature, I feel so much part of it. And at the same time, I live in my head most of the time. But if we live in our hearts, we live more in nature. We feel connected. We feel connected. Nature is not our enemy. Not our enemy. But if we listen to the TV weather people, we really, really would get it if we listen carefully to what they're saying, that nature is our enemy, that we're always fighting the weather. We're fighting it if it's too hot. We're fighting it if it's too cold. So let's stop fighting. Nature deserves to be respected, but definitely not feared. Not feared. So I'm going to talk a little bit about our communication with nature today, and our relationships with nature. And so I found myself inspired by several books The Secret Life of Plants and the Findhorn Garden book were two written in the 70s. Probably, have you all heard of the Findhorn Garden? That place in northern Scotland is still going strong. They don't grow 40-pound cabbages anymore, but they still have a beautiful garden. They have a wind power and they're selling it to the communities around them. And then another book called Nature Speak, which I found, of course, in our wonderful bookstore. So everything we need to know we can learn from our natural world, particularly the cycles of death and life and rebirth. We have all these cycles within us. And when we willingly place our own cycles within the greater cycles of nature, we can learn everything we need to know. We can know joy, creativity, we can know death, and transcendence of death and rebirth. Nature is our greatest gift because of being so much a part of it. Our greatest resource and guidance while we're living here in these bodies. This is the way the divine communicates with us. And there is a language which nature speaks. It may not come to you in words. It may come to you in feelings. It may come to you in colors, or smell, or touch, through our senses. But certainly through our intuition, our sense of understanding that we know through our hearts. What I loved most about the Findhorn Garden book was the messages from the divas and the angels of the garden. Dorothy McLean was one of the founders. She began to hear the messages early on as suggestions that came through her own mind. She admits never seeing angel spirits herself, although I believe there were others who did see the angel spirits of the garden and of the particular plants. But she did write down the messages, and they followed, the whole community followed her messages, and grew a spectacular garden. Most of us don't have direct communication with nature or with the nature spirits that live around us and within us. So how do we know? Nature is talking to us all the time, but are we listening? Are we slowing down enough to listen? Can we hear nature talk to us? If we were to, I believe if we were to really listen, we would live with much more joy and freedom, and live much more in our hearts than our heads than we actually do. The landscape angel of Findhorn says, "We would have you love the garden and all in it, putting your care and attention to it. But above all, we would have you feel it, all part of the one. It is not enough to grow plants merely for beauty, appearance, or use. Grow them also because all are expressions of the whole. You too are parts of the whole, part of that tiny flower, the sunshine and the rain, the light in another's eye, the warmth of another's smile. And you are a part of us, the angelic hosts who give life to the planet, who care for you all, though you know it not." This highest aspect of nature is the spirit within us calling to us through every part of life. Animal kingdom, the sky, the earth, the animal kingdom, the mineral kingdom. Whether in the sound of a baby or the babbling of a brook, the call of a bird or the beating of our hearts, it is the support and strength we obtain from being and feeling and listening in nature. we know we get strength from our food. Are we aware how much we get from the fresh air and the sunshine and the beauty all around us? Are we aware of the wisdom? Are we aware that flowers raise our energy, lift our energy wherever they are, wherever we bring them? And I hope you have flowers in your house all the time, because you need them. You need them to lift you up. You need them to inspire you. You need them to teach you. And you need them to love you as you love them. You talk to your dogs, you talk to your cats, you talk to your birds. Do you talk to your plants? Do you talk to your plants? In our house, a lot of plants died off this winter, and I really believe it's because we just ignored them and gave out a lot of negative energy. And doing this research, I said, I'm going to tell all these plants every day, at least once a day, that I love them, and see what happens. So I'm bringing more plants into the house. I'm bringing the herbs that I'll plant later in my pots, and they're doing okay. I'm gonna tell them I love them every day, and why not? Do you talk to your food? I mean, really, our food speaks to us. Is there anything so intimate as our food? And is it as it nourishes our bodies and nourishes our senses? Can we not talk to it and at least say thank you to it? It's alive, for heaven's sake, mostly, somewhat. Say thank you. Pick up a cookie out there. Say thank you. This is the kind of communication that we know through our hearts. And I learned from Lisa in our class on eating and diet, and make eating a spiritual act. Why not? As much as we take time to meditate and take time to pray, let's take time to do that with our food. Meditate as we eat. Eat in prayer. Be aware of our every movement and take deep breaths. That's how we do it. It's fairly simple. It's not so easy, but it's fairly simple. It used to be that all of humanity saw and felt itself a part of nature. Our lives and our survival were more intimately connected with the seasonal changes and movements of the air and water. And they still are. But we, as individuals, were not so connected with exactly how. The water where I live comes from the Detroit River, and I'm going, do I really know where that water, do I really know what's going on with that water before it comes to my house? Not really. And for the abuse we've piled on nature for hundreds of years, we are paying dearly. We're paying with our lives. Certain kinds of cancer, various illnesses are the result of being out of balance. We can certainly use our connection with nature to get back into balance. I feel that we do that. But let's do it consciously. As nature seeks balance, as we see in the patterns of weather and the earth changes that go on all the time, let's connect ourselves to all of those changes and let it heal us. Nature can carry our emotions, but nature itself is not emotional. The beauty in nature we see from us. It is us. Nature is just being itself. Nature reflects the truths about our lives. Where it's out of balance, we're out of balance. So we've also been understanding for lots of years now that it's survival, not survival of the fittest, but it's survival of the most cooperative. And so let's take time to understand a little bit deeper about that connection we have with nature and the cooperation that we need to exercise. Grow a few things. Grow some flowers, grow some herbs. We are, it's especially true for us as human beings, we have the power to make the changes on the earth that we need. And we've taken that power, we've abused that power, so we need to start again. Always start again, as individuals and as groups. And anything we can do to connect and reconnect with nature will heal us and will be a catalyst for healing the planet, because we're connected. We're all connected with each other, and where we do something in one area affects another area, because we are part of the whole. We are part of the whole. We are part of the tiny flowers, the sunshine and the rain. We're all a part of it. We learn survival is dependent on our ability to cooperate. Gardeners have known this for hundreds and thousands of years as they rotate crops. Not just for soil fertility, which they do. I mean, what did we do before we had fertilizers? We still grew crops, and we grew them very well. We just used different. We had to be more connected with what we were growing, and we had to do it more carefully. It helped with water management, it helped with insect control, rotating crops. I mean, how else is God going to talk to us? God talks to us through nature. We can stop thinking of ourselves as one thing, and nature as another thing. We can stop thinking of this is me and this is you and this is my plant and this is me and this is my car and this is me. We can think of ourselves outside of time and space as one with nature. We are evolving. I'm not saying we need to, we should, we are. Evolve as humans past the Bible phrase that says the man shall have dominion over the plants and animals of the earth. We won't succeed by having dominion, but we will succeed by cooperating with the plants and the animals and each other. As our consciousness expands with opening to nature and to its communication, we realize this is the voice of our own spirit, the plants, the animals that communicate with us. This is the voice of our own spirit. Can you love the beauty of a flower? Can you feel it bringing up your energy? And that's when you are called to a higher place of thinking, a higher place of feeling, and that's where we can see our own light. So ask for help making choices that nurture higher consciousness and higher awareness. And remember that you are much more than your body. You are much more the earth. The earth is much more than the form that we see. What we don't see is the vital energy that creates, supports, and changes, underlies everything that is visible to us. So I found some quotations. I'll read a few of them, and then I really want to close with a meditation on connecting with the earth. You will find something more in woods than in books, Trees and stones will teach you that which you can never learn from the masters. St. Bernard. A snowflake is one of God's most fragile creations, but look what they can do when they stick together. The best remedy for those who are afraid or lonely or unhappy is to go outside, somewhere they can be quiet, alone with the heavens, with nature and with God, because only then does one feel that all is as it should be, and that God wishes to see people happy amidst the simple beauty of nature. This is Anne Frank. I had a quotation from Rachel Carson. Those who contemplate the beauty of the earth find reserves of strength that will endure as long as life lasts. That's Rachel Carson. So let's take a few minutes to find a meditation. A few moments of quiet and silence, and go inside and connect with a favorite tree or a favorite animal. Connect with that being and feel the heartbeat of nature. And feel how the spirit of nature is the spirit of God. The angels all around us, providing our strength and sustenance and joy and wisdom. Take a few moments to be thankful. We all have friends out in nature. Thank those friends. They're there for you. They're there for us. Feel how giving nature is. And feel your oneness. And so it is. Amen.